All right, buckle up because we're diving deep today. Like, seriously, babe, we're talking about the big stuff, the kind of questions that make your brain hurt. Science, religion, what is reality
Oh
even?
yeah, those big questions. Always a fun time.
You sent this YouTube video, and it is a doozy.
Uh-oh.
It's a discussion between Sahil Adeem and Muhammad Ali. The title is Full Video, 11 Dimensions and Superstring Theory Explained by Sahil Adeem and Muhammad Ali.
Okay, I've heard of them.
It's from a channel called, get this, Epistemistic Sahil Adeem.
Interesting.
And let me tell you, these guys do not hold back.
What do they talk about?
Well, they go all in on string theory, multiple dimensions, and whether any of that can coexist with, well, with religious beliefs.
Yeah, that's a pretty intense combination. I mean, just thinking about string theory in multiple dimensions can make your head spin.
Right. It's like, whoa.
So how do they even start tackling all that?
They jump right into string theory. Imagine the universe is like a guitar string. Different vibrations make different, like, musical notes, right?
Yeah, I get that.
Well, string theory says that the universe is made of tiny vibrating strings, and those vibrations create different particles.
Oh, I see. So instead of musical notes, you get the building blocks of matter.
Yeah. And get this, they say there might be more of those strings than we can even see.
More strings.
Vibrating in dimensions beyond what we can perceive, that's where those 11 dimensions come in.
11 dimensions. That's a lot.
Right. Adeem and Ali make this point that human understanding is, well, limited. They use an example. Imagine someone stuck on a single plate on a table. They can only experience that one plate, right?
Okay, I'm following.
They say we're like that, trapped in our 3 dimensions and completely missing the bigger picture, the creator's view, as they put it.
It's like we're looking through a tiny keyhole at an entire universe.
It's a good way to put it.
Mm.
And they also talk about how science keeps changing. You know, new discoveries pop up all the time, and the old theories get,
Disproven. Replaced. Yes.
Yeah, that's it. Replaced. And they seem to see that as a weakness of science. Like, it can't be trusted if it's always changing. But, I don't know, isn't that a good thing?
I think so. It means science is constantly evolving, learning from its mistakes,
Yeah.
getting closer to the truth.
So it's more about the journey than being right all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so that's wild enough. But then there's the religion part of this whole thing. Adeem and Ali seem pretty firm in their beliefs, even when science, presents different explanations.
Well, faith and science often approach things from different angles. It can be tricky to reconcile those perspectives.
Yeah, tricky is one word for it. There's this thing they keep bringing up, this milk canal metaphor.
Milk canal. I'm not sure I follow.
Me neither. They didn't really explain it. It's like they're using it to represent something beyond human comprehension, something science can't fully grasp.
So something beyond our senses and current understanding.
Maybe. They're hinting at the limits of science, like they're things that just can't explain.
And maybe that's where faith steps in, to provide answers and meaning where science falls short.
Right. It's like there's this tension, this push and pull between science with its evidence and experiments and religion with its faith and tradition.
Yeah, that tension has been around for centuries. But what I find interesting is that both science and religion come from the same place, this human desire to understand the universe and our place in it.
That's true. They're just,
Different approaches to answering the same fundamental questions.
Yeah, exactly. But hold on, they don't stop there. Black holes, aliens, it's like they threw everything into this discussion.
Well, those topics definitely tap into that sense of mystery and the unknown, things that push the boundaries of our understanding.
It all comes back to that, doesn't it? The idea that there's so much more out there than we can even grasp.
And that's what makes this deep dive so exciting. It's not just about learning facts. It's about opening our minds to the vastness of what we don't know.
It's like this video is just the tip of the iceberg. It's giving us a glimpse into these huge, complex ideas. And now it's on us to keep digging.
I'm ready to dig. But maybe we should take a breather for a second. Let everything sink in.
That's probably a good idea. Let's recap what we've got so far. We started with string theory, which suggests that the universe is made up of these tiny vibrating strings creating dimensions beyond our perception.
Right, those 11 dimensions we were talking about.
And Adeem and Ali, they see limits to what science can explain. Remember that example of the person stuck on the plate? They can't see the creator's view.
Yeah, it's like we're trapped in our limited perspective.
Exactly. And they also talked about how science is always changing, which they see as a problem, but maybe it's actually a strength.
It means it's constantly evolving and getting closer to the truth.
Right. And then there's the milk canal thing, which I'm still not sure what that means, but it seems to represent something beyond our current understanding.
Something that science might not be able to explain fully.
Which brings us to this whole tension between science and religion. They seem like opposing forces, but maybe they're both just different ways of seeking truth.
Different paths up the same mountain, perhaps.
Yeah, I like that. But man, this is deep stuff.
No kidding.
And we're just getting started.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah, there's definitely more. Buckle up for part 2 because we're about to go even deeper. We'll unpack more of Adim and Ali's arguments and see where this whole exploration takes us.
Sounds like a plan.
You
I'm
know?
ready for the next level.
One thing that really stuck out to me was how Adim and Ali get hung up on the way science, progresses.
Oh, yeah, they weren't happy about scientists calling older theories, well, stupid, just because something new comes along.
It's like they think scientists should be more respectful of those who came before, even if their ideas, turned out to be wrong.
Yeah, but isn't that the whole point of science? It's not about, groundbreaking at the time. Exactly. It's about constantly refining our understanding, being open to new evidence. It's not about ego. It's about getting closer to the truth.
So it's less about being right all the time and more about, the journey of discovery.
Yeah. Think of it like a giant puzzle. Each new discovery is a new piece. And sometimes we have to rearrange the pieces we already have to make it all fit.
I get that analogy. Sometimes you think you have a piece in the right spot, and you find a new one, and you're like, oh, wait a minute.
And you have to shift things around. And it's not about disrespecting the people who put those first pieces in place. It's about recognizing that our understanding is always evolving.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not about being stuck in the past. It's about building on what we've learned and moving forward.
Right. And that evolution is driven by skepticism, questioning assumptions, and being open to new possibilities.
Which actually brings us back to Adim and Ali. They might come from a religious perspective, but they definitely seem to value critical thinking.
Oh, absolutely. They might be skeptical of specific scientific theories, but they're clearly engaged in a genuine search for truth, just like, scientists.
And it's not just about blindly accepting everything you hear, right? Whether it's a scientific theory or a religious teaching, you have to think for yourself.
Couldn't agree more. You have to weigh the evidence and come to your own conclusions. Which, reminds me of something else they brought up. Remember how they mentioned crop circles and those ancient civilizations?
Yeah, that part totally caught my attention. It's like they're suggesting that maybe there was, advanced knowledge in the past that we've lost.
It's a fascinating idea, isn't it? The notion that maybe we haven't figured everything out, that there might have been civilizations with technology and wisdom that we haven't even dreamed of.
It makes you wonder if our understanding of history is even, complete.
Right. Think about all the amazing archaeological discoveries that have been made. We're constantly learning new things about the past. It really makes you realize how much we still don't know.
It's like we're peeling back layers of time, uncovering these lost worlds. And who knows what else is out there waiting to be discovered.
That's what I love about these deep dives. It's not just about the information itself.
Oh, yeah.
It's about sparking that sense of wonder and curiosity.
It's about encouraging our listener to become an explorer, to go out and seek knowledge, whether it's in science or religion or history, or even just their own personal experiences.
Exactly. And it's not about having all the answers, It's about embracing that journey of discovery, the process of learning and evolving our understanding.
So it's not just about Hadim and Ali's arguments, or even the specific scientific concepts. It's about fostering this mindset of curiosity and critical thinking.
Yes. It's about empowering our listener to think for themselves, weigh the evidence, draw their own conclusions.
And to be open to different perspectives, even if they challenge our own ideas.
Exactly. Because, even though Adim and Ali's views might not line up perfectly with those of the scientific community, their passion for understanding the universe is something we can all appreciate.
It's a reminder that there are multiple ways to approach those big questions about reality, creation, and, everything.
And that respectful dialogue and, just listening to different viewpoints can actually help us understand better, see the world in new ways.
I know this conversation has really made me think about these topics in a different light. I'm seeing the connections between science and religion in ways I hadn't before.
Me too. It's really fascinating. They both grapple with the limitations of, human understanding.
On one hand, science acknowledges that we can only see a tiny fraction of the universe, and that our knowledge is constantly evolving.
And on the other hand, religion often suggests that there's a level of understanding that goes beyond what humans can even comprehend.
It's like they're both acknowledging that there are some mysteries we might never fully unravel.
But that doesn't mean we should stop searching, right?
No way. That sense of mystery, it's what drives us to explore, to ask those big questions, to keep pushing the boundaries of what we know.
Exactly. That pursuit of knowledge, whether it's through science, religion, or our own experiences, it's what makes us human.
Wow, we're getting pretty philosophical here. I think it's time to wrap up this part of our deep dive. But before we do, let's make sure our listener is still with us.
Good point. It's a lot to take in.
Okay, so in this part of our deep dive, we started by talking about how Adim and Ali see scientific progress and how their critique actually highlights the strengths of science. Its ability to adapt, to correct itself, and to constantly refine our understanding based on new evidence.
Right. It's not about being afraid to be wrong. It's about constantly striving to get closer to the truth.
And then we explored that idea of lost civilizations and ancient knowledge,
Yeah.
which is just like mind-blowing to think about.
It really challenges us to reconsider what we think we know about history.
And finally, we talked about how important it is to think critically, to have those open and respectful dialogues, and to be willing to consider different perspectives when we're tackling those big questions about the universe and our place in it.
That's a great summary of what we covered.
But we're not done yet. There's still more to unpack in this video.
Oh yeah, we're going even deeper in part 3.
All right, last leg of our deep dive here. And I gotta say, this whole conversation with Adim and Ali, it's really got me thinking. They seem to put science and religion in, like, opposite corners. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like they see them as these two forces constantly battling it out for the truth. But I'm not sure it's that black and white.
Me neither. I mean, history's full of scientists who are super religious, and plenty of religions are totally cool with science as a way to understand the world.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be one or the other. It's more about realizing that science and religion, they offer different ways of knowing things, different perspectives on reality, I
Well, I
guess.
said instead of conflict, it's more like they both contribute to how we understand the universe and our place in it.
Yeah, like science helps us get the mechanics, right? The
Yeah.
how things work. But religion, it often tackles the why, that deeper meaning and purpose behind it all.
Different kinds of questions, but both important when we're trying to, like, figure out what it all means.
And hey, isn't that what this whole deep dive's about? Asking those big questions, exploring different angles, and just admitting there's a ton we still don't know.
Totally. I think Adim and Ali, even when they're skeptical of science, they show that same curiosity.
Definitely. They're not afraid to question things, challenge the usual way of thinking, and look for answers beyond the obvious.
And that's what we want to pass on to our listeners, right? That drive to stay curious, to keep exploring, to never stop asking those big questions, even if the answers keep changing.
Couldn't have said it better myself. It's not about having all the answers. It's about the journey of figuring things out, the constant search for knowledge and, well, understanding.
So, one last thought to leave everyone with. What if, instead of seeing science and religion as enemies, we thought of them as working together? Like each one gives us unique pieces to the puzzle of existence. What could we discover with that kind of open mind?
Now, that's a question worth pondering. And honestly, it's something each listener can explore for themselves.
This whole deep dive has really been, well, a lot. From string theory and all those dimensions to black holes, ancient civilizations, and this back and forth between science and religion, it's a lot to process.
It's been quite the journey.
Huge thanks to you, by the way, for walking us through it all.
Happy to be here. These conversations are always fascinating.
And to our listener, we hope this deep dive got you thinking, fired up your curiosity, keep exploring the universe, keep asking those big questions, and we'll catch you on the next deep dive.